From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is the Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, Grant Cardone. With Gina Grad on news, Bald Brian on sound effects, and a spirited round of Sling It Forward. And now, reminding our listeners in California that leaving out cookies for Santa is technically indoor dining and can result in a fine. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but to get it on. Your mandates to get it on now. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for sharing as we round the corner and head toward 12 years of doing this podcast. Good day, Gina Grad.
Good day to you.
Handball, Brian.
Not Brian Bishop.
Afraid so.
Afraid so. I took Sonny out for a drive in the manual shift Z car last night. He barely got around in the truckster, the automatic, which is very easy to drive because you're sitting up high, and it's just a very easy car to drive. And the Z car is very low slung. You're pretty much on the ground in that car, and it's kind of tiny and sporty. So the first thing I did is last night it was about 8:30. I told him to get in the Z car, and then I drove, and then I got on the freeway, and I redlined it in first gear until it's about 7,400, 7,600 RPM, and then I just did a power shift into second and chirped it and just pinned him to the back of the seat and scared the shit out of him.
Were there
My uncle
tears?
did that to me. Yeah, that's good.
Your uncle did that, you say?
Yeah, my uncle's a big car guy. He was a Mopar guy. He loved Chevelle, Chevettes. He loved all the old Chevys. And he took me out one day, and one that he had rebuilt. He was a real wrencher, and threw me back in the seat. Some pretty strong torque on that car.
Just for edification, Mopar's Dodge and Chevy's Chevy.
Oh, I thought it was all I thought it was all Michigan, but my bad.
No, it's just they always call Dodge and I guess Chrysler as Mopar. I don't know how they got to Mopar, but anyway, it's a little rite of passage. So I stuck him to the seat, and we hauled some ass. And it wasn't a great strategic move for me because I scared the shit out of him, and then he thought that's what this car does.
Yeah, that's why I asked if there were tears, because he's next, and now he thinks that's how you drive this car.
That's how it's driven. Yeah.
But I told him he could just, put it in first gear, and we could just putter around the parking lot. So we went to the school parking lot, probably about 9 at night. And we had this thing. I love timing. I was turning into the parking lot, turning left, and right before me, a car just kind of scooted in right before me and turned into the parking lot. And then that car proceeded to go left and park in the middle of the parking lot. And then two teenage girls just got out and kind of stood out there. And we went down to the end, but now there's a car and two teenage girls just standing in the middle of the parking lot kind of facing us. And I thought,
opposite of what you want.
Yeah, it is opposite because I didn't want to run over those girls. So I did the thing. I said, "What's your safe word?" He said, "What's a safe word?" I said, "You never seen any bondage videos at all?"
No, not guy.
Oh, safe word.
Okay, well, when the dominatrix is beating the shit out of the businessman, I said, "Oh, safe word, yeah. Okay, well, just give me a word." And he's like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, a name or something you like. And he's like, "Well, what's it for?" I said, "Fuck it. Let's just make it Rams. Just make it Rams. You like the Rams? Yeah. Okay, Rams. Rams it is." So we parked the car. I don't normally...
It's going smoothly.
I normally don't choose the safe word for my partner, but in this particular instance, father had to step up. So we got there and got the car going. And by the way, I never drive a stick, and I just forget shit. Like in new cars with a stick shift, you have to take the clutch and push it all the way down or the car won't start. So you put your foot on the brake of the cars we're used to driving, and then you hit the button and the car starts. Yep. But you got to get the clutch grounded. And then anyway, got the thing started, swapped seats. Put him in there. Did the safe word clutch move. Did about 5 or 10 of those. And I am telling you that safe word clutch move works like a goddamn charm. So I put him in it, and I'll play you the video. It's just it's at night. I'm looking out the window. There's not much to see. This is after we switched. We went down. I think we went down. You can start at the beginning. We went down to the end and then got out and like swapped seats. And I think I'll play it for you. Go ahead.
I guess gear would be like the equivalent to driving a regular neutral.
Regular automatics have gears. You just don't. They're automatic. It's not one gear.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
I didn't know that.
So you were driving a multiple gear car all along. Building them up.
Why did I need to do this?
Now, just worry about once we get in first gear and we're rolling along. Rams. Off. Rams. Off. Who's pressing the clutch? Off. Okay, remember, the only way you can screw this up is if you hit something else other than a clutch. When I yell Rams, clutch in.
Okay.
Okay. Rams. I clutch in. Get this number up to 2. He doesn't know what a tachometer is. Use accelerator. There you go. So I'm saying like tachometer 2,000 RPM, and it just says a 2 on it.
Not like he has a dad who's in
Slowly
the car.
let the clutch out.
Right.
Slow. Keep it at 2. Slowly. Slow. You didn't let it out slow, Sonny. That was not slow. Go ahead. Gas. Gas. So we're trucking along in first gear. Good. Now just steer. You're in first gear. You're just driving automatic now. All you do is steer. Yeah, right foot is the brake. Kids go there to party. Don't worry about this guy. Told him we were going to run over some hippies.
Who signed the dash?
Pete Brock. Because it's a Nissan and it's a BRE, Brock Racing. Gotcha. Still in first gear. Enterprise. Now, 2,000. 200. Yeah. Sonny was blown away. His friends went crazy. Let the Pete Brock. The Pete Brock. Very slowly. Get to 2. Get to 2. Let's let this guy get by. Get to 2. Yeah, as soon as we pulled in, right, everyone just came into the parking lot to drink beer.
That's weird.
Very slow. Very slow. At least Sonny knows where to go to drink his Mickeys in 2 years. Let it out. A little bit faster. Get it up. Get it up to 2. Get it to 2. Good. Gas, gas, gas. Okay. Smooth.
That was pretty smooth.
Yeah, that was a good job. All right. Just keep it in first. Don't worry about the speed bump. He was excited because we dropped it into second at some point. Go ahead. So now we're just going. A big swing around turn here. Going down the parking lot. That's okay. Let me help you. Gas. Gas, gas. All right.
There's a lot of people.
All right, start turning. He's worried all the time. Hold on. Turn left.
I feel him.
Turn left hard. But he's fear-based. I'm trying to get him out of his fear base. Keep going. All right, a little more gas. A little more. A little more. There we go. Oh. There we go. Here we go.
Flip the bitch.
Get to about 2,000. We're going to go for second gear.
It's a little bit fast. It's a little bit fast.
Second gear. All right, you ready? Little gas. A little more gas. Rams. All right, out.
What do you mean,
out. Clutch out. Go. Gas. You're now in second gear. You're now driving in second gear.
I'm not going into third gear.
All right. Just keep steering. Just keep steering. Good. Looking good. Keep it at 2,000 RPM. Looking good. Swing out. Rams. Touch in. Good. Brake it a little bit. Brake it. Crank it. I said break it a little bit.
Sorry. You're driving.
One more.
No, we're done.
One more.
We're done.
One more.
We're done. We're done.
Don't. You understand your Carolla?
We're done.
You understand your Carolla?
We're done.
All right. You're done enough.
Yay. Is it?
All he wanted to do is get out of the car. I've traumatized him.
He did it. Good job.
Yeah, he drove around and then got him up this morning, and we went for round 2 and we got into third gear. So now I just gotta get him out on the street in it.
Now you got to go
would
on the
imagine-
110.
I know.
Yeah,
Go
on the
downtown.
Pasadena. I imagine that doing this at night with oncoming headlights had to be exponentially harder than doing it in broad daylight in an
Yeah,
empty
night's
parking lot
hard.
this morning.
Yeah, that's what I told him. I said the day would be easier, and then meanwhile, Natalia wanted to go out driving, but I didn't have the truck. I had the Z, and she wanted to go out with all her friends, so she kind of passed on it because she's social. But I'll bring the truck home tonight, and we'll go for some kind of bonsai run with her and her friends. It's so funny how much more social the girls are at that age, and how if they're going to do something, they need their friends there as witnesses. Maybe it's
Indeed. Or it didn't happen.
yeah, like maybe that's where the whole wedding witness thing comes in. Like maybe it was just some chick going, I want my single friends to watch me get married.
That's right.
My friend Becky, she got to be there to witness this shit.
Yeah, maybe
I'll
that.
allow one married friend. She's the matron of honor. Everybody else single and ready to mingle.
Yeah, maybe that's the origins of it. But Sonny did not need a witness. But he's getting it, and
That's got to be a cool moment for you, man. Teaching the kids how to drive.
yeah, it's nice. I didn't never think I was going to get him into a stick shift, but yeah, it's kind of cool. I love driving, and the kids, never wanted any part of it, and now they do. And also, I want them, good and acclimated, and I think I would take them to one of those performance driving schools for sure before they get their license, because what they do is they wet the skid pad down. You get on the skid pad, and then you get the car a little out of control, and then you feel what it feels like to correct the car. Like you understand what it's like to correct the car when it gets a little, because California's got that black ice everywhere.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you gotta correct that slide, but also you don't freak and seize up when the car starts losing a little grip and getting a little sideways.
Well, we were just talking about that because my fiance is from Minnesota, and part of their driver's ed curriculum was taking the kids onto black ice so they knew how to not spin out. But that's always been my question, and I'm sure it's just it's probably easily explainable, and I could probably, if I thought about it long enough. But how come when you're driving, say, 60 miles an hour and you slightly turn the wheel, that shit starts to fishtail? Why? Why does that happen?
Well, the engine in most cars, the engine is in the front, and the weight is in the front of the car. And there's also a thing of like when you kind of load up the rear end or load up the front end. So if you think about it, if you have the engine in the front of the car and you start to brake a little bit, almost all your brake ballast is in the front wheels of the car. So as you have the engine in the front, which is like the heaviest thing in the car, and then you start putting a little brake on, all the weight shifts to the front of the car. And when the weight shifts to the front of the car, then the rear end gets lighter. And when it gets light, that's when it starts moving around.
That makes sense.
So we did that. But also, it's really interesting because Sonny's always been kind of fear-based, and Natalia's always been kind of a ballsy banshee. And he doesn't want to do things intuitively because he's fear-based. But once you kind of shove him into that, and then he comes home, he's preening like a peacock. He comes home, he's like, Natalia, I drove a stick shift. We got into second gear. Yeah,
He likes having done it, just not doing it or about to do it.
I feel you, Sonny.
Yeah, everybody, the thing about fear and based and not fear-based, it's funny because when you get to the finish line or you're talking about the final product, the people that are fear-based are every bit as excited and proud to have completed everything, and I would argue more excited and more proud because they're fear-based. So they've overcome more. So it's
They're relieved.
Yes, it is this. It's this goal that both want to accomplish. The fear-based people don't want to embark on that goal, and so it stifles them, and then they go a little deeper into their fear. Obviously, the more of these things you overcome, the more then you get on some sort of positive roll where you're just sort of squashing your fear, and so hopefully Sonny's going down that road. All right, let's see. We've got a call up there that's not really that exciting, but I'll answer it anyway. But I am telling everybody, anyone you want to teach to drive a stick, get that clutch safe word, and it works out. He didn't even stall it. He stalled it today because I left the fucking emergency brake on when he was taking off, because I'm not... Again, probably because I told the story about my driver's test and leaving the emergency brake on yesterday, but also I'm just not used to putting the emergency brake on. Like I pulled up into my driveway in the Z car last night, stopped the car, and just started to get out of the car, and the car just started rolling back down the hill. Like you forget there's shit you had to do back in the day before you got out of the car. All right, let's see. Carol is from Central Valley. Carol?
The greatest front sell ever.
Carol from Central Valley, and a call that I've deemed lackluster. But go ahead, Carol. Prove me wrong.
Well, you all have been talking about cars, so I guess I should have asked something to have to do with that. What I asked was regarding sort of the situation that Trump is in. How concerned should we be with everything that's going on? What do you guys think?
I don't think you would call someone insane for being concerned, but I don't think it's going to come to fruition. I think there'll be a peaceful transference of power. That's
the track record at this
take.
point is pretty established, right? Like it's a lot of talk, a lot of bluster, but at the end of the day, it's just it just goes.
Yeah, and I don't really know what his alternatives are, but and I don't know if he has some sort of Kraken that still needs to be released. But
that's right.
Forgot about the Kraken.
I did.
Here's the thing about Krakens. If you don't release them in the first 72 hours, you don't have a Kraken. You know what I mean?
I did not know that.
Oh, if we're going on day 11 of you threatening to release the Kraken, you probably don't have a Kraken. You probably have a parakeet.
Krakens are coming.
You have a parakeet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and the people that were, sort of staunchly supporting him are now kind of going like, when Pat Robertson gets on the 700 club and says, Trump, it's over, then I think we can all sort of agree that we're moving into a different phase.
Yeah, I saw that today. So I think unless the Kraken is got the COVID and is recovering and is ready to come out stronger than ever, minus said Kraken recovering, I don't think there's going to be I don't think there's going to be a big concern here. There's too many people on the right side of the aisle who would agree that we need to just hand over the keys to Biden. So I'm not worried about it. But look, if some version of it happens, it'll definitely give us something to talk about for several weeks leading in. It'll definitely get the new year off to a fiery start. For all the news outlets and everything. What are you doing for Christmas, Carol? Christmas
Not
Carol.
too much.
Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. What are you cooking?
Oh, I'm not cooking. I'm not cooking.
I told you it's going to be a bad call.
Yeah, we've got a real spike going on here, so I think I'm staying home. My daughter-in-law is the one that does all the Christmassy stuff.
Oh, she does. What's her dish?
Oh, she does everything. She's an amazing cook. She's got 4 kids, and she decorates the house. She's an interior decorator, so there you go. And it's beautiful. She does a great job.
And as the mother-in-law, are you a little bit passive aggressive and you do the sort of offhanded? Stuffing's a little dry this year. Normally it's so moist. Do you do that? No?
No, I'm not like that. She's kind of great, and she's always been great. They've been married forever, so no, I bow my head to her and say, "Yes, ma'am, you've done great."
Wow.
She's done a great job with her kids, and she's done a great job with my son.
Carol, is she standing there with a gun to your head right now?
Otherwise you're a unicorn.
Can you safe word, Rams?
You say she did a great job with the kids, but how do you know one of them's not gay?
Oh, that's
well, that wouldn't matter to me anyway. So
right, but it matters to me.
By that logic, you've done a terrible job.
I know.
Yeah, really.
My son,
I love them all, but that one.
my son better not be gay because I make so many jokes about him being gay. I did it this morning.
Well, you have a higher than average possibility of that being so, since you have that opinion.
Yeah.
You're wishing it into existence.
Yeah, I may have willed it.
Yeah.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
I remember my brother telling me everything that I did wrong with my kids and how they were blustery and, you know, they wouldn't do that if you did this and they wouldn't do that if you did that. And then he had children.
Yeah.
Comeuppance.
And he got payback for all of it.
Enjoy your meal. Might I suggest, I've been thinking a lot about this. For dessert, I'm going for a deep cut here, people.
Let's hear it.
But it's delectable. And you shouldn't sleep on it. And it's the kind of dessert that nobody, everyone gets their pies and their cakes and then bakes the cookies and whatnot.
Let me guess. Can I guess?
Yes.
Bread pudding.
No, but I like bread pudding. That's good. It's not a bad call. I am going to call for pineapple upside down cake.
Oh, wow. That is a deep pull.
Pineapple upside down cake is awesome. It's really the only... It's really half cake and half pie. It's essentially got the fruit, and it's a little component. Gooey, and it's moist and everything. And it gets a little crispy when you do it right. You get the halves, get the circles of pineapple. And then you do the fresh whipped cream. You whip up fresh whipped cream. And the key to the whipped cream is don't put sugar in it. It's totally rich enough. And the pineapple upside down cake's got enough gooey, sugary goodness on it. And you just put a nice dollop of that on top of the pineapple upside down cake. And it is good for what ails you. Let's see. Alex, 45, Washington, D.C., started a year with no tattoos, and now he has 2 large tattoos, and one is an attack crow?
That's correct.
Wow.
Really? Could you send us a picture of that?
Is this Alex Jones?
I already did. I sent it to Emmy, and I think he forwarded it on to Chris.
Oh, really?
Wow. That's huge.
That's,
That is
your first tattoo.
That is a very realistic depiction of an attack crow, and it's got to be 11 inches.
True to size.
It's. I decided to go strong. 44 years without, and now I got that one, and then I got a second one. And at some point, you had made the point that when you get to your mid 40s and you don't have tattoos, and then all of a sudden you have some substantial tattoos, might be a source of concern. And so I guess I was curious. Are there other things I should be looking out for, points of concern for 2021 for me going forward?
Yeah, this is a slippery slope. This is a gateway tattoo.
Aggressive piercings.
That's right.
Obviously.
A brand, maybe a brand or something.
Yeah.
Multiple bracelets with the weird wood circles on them. I don't know when the wood circle, I don't know if it's like a flotation device. I don't know when the wood bead thing came in with the dudes, but wood bead bracelet. Somehow, if it's wood grain, it's cool. If the beads were orange, something's up. Then you become one of your mom's friends from high school. But that is a good-looking tat, and for a tat that has no color in it, it works because your subject is black already. So that's
sweet.
Now, do you have to go to a ornithologist? Is that well, I'm saying most tattoo guys do, the Harley Davidson sign or an anchor or something like that. Not many of them have a raven that's in full attack mode in their repertoire. You know what I mean?
Mid-flight.
You got to shop around for that?
I went to a tattoo lady. Not a tattoo man. So I decided to go that direction. I figured she would have, the rage of a raven being, working in that industry as a woman.
And then you had it. She didn't just have it in her catalog, did she?
Oh no, she made that herself. I sent her a couple of samples, and it was all out of her noodle. It was amazing.
Wow.
It's a pretty sharp tattoo.
And she didn't try to upsell you to a macaw? Because they use color and they charge more.
Way too many colors. Too many colors. From Disney is black and white, and Raven's already black. So
I think a peacock would suit you.
It's
well, maybe I get a back tattoo of a peacock in full display mode. Maybe that's the move now.
It seems like a good move, and I like it until the first day you go to the beach and you pull your shirt off and you're attacked by seagulls. Like a whole flock of seagulls just attack you. Yes.
Yeah.
That's why you get the Raven tattoo. They should be, afraid of that, And on my other arm, I've got a snake crawling down it now. So that's a pretty substantial black and white tattoo too.
Wow.
But maybe if I start working leather, that seems like it might be a concern.
Oh,
I get really interested in the tanning of hides and stuff.
Yeah.
That maybe is a danger sign.
Yeah, making your own beer.
Yeah, smelting certain metals.
Smelting, refilling your own shotgun shells.
Oh yeah, I think Vinny might do that.
That's single guy, white guy basement activity with tattoos. But that's the next logical move is you refilling your own shotgun shells.
Maybe get really into mustache wax.
Oh yeah, there's that.
Please don't.
Yeah.
These are all things to avoid in 2021.
Well, eventually you'll end up at steampunk, and you'll be shit out of luck. So be careful.
Oh, it's a slippery slope. Slippery slope guy could help with that.
Thanks, Alex.
Listen, thank you guys so much for the great year. It's been an interesting one, and you guys have really helped. So really love the pod, and you guys are fantastic. And thank you.
Hey, I got a quick question, and thank you. What does a tattoo like that cost?
Well, let's see. It's like $200 an hour for this particular person, and I think it was probably about 7 hours of tattoo time total.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I like about this tattoo is that it's not cartoonish. It's not like a weird version of a raven. That is a almost photorealistic raven.
Yeah. Please tell me if you ever run into Pete Davidson, you'll just rip your shirt off in front of him because he's got all those goofy, sort of weird. There's a weird new. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what I would. God damn it! What is that movie with all the Suicide Squad? There's this new breed of Suicide Squad tattoos, where these sort of dorky caricatures. It's not that interesting.
Right. Yeah, almost like DIY. You could have put them on yourself.
It's got a little prison. It's got a little prison tattoo. Minus the gang affiliations. All right, shall we play the Sling It Forward game? Sling TV has the best TV shows and movies and all the viewing options. You get them with Sling TV. So let's play Sling It Forward, shall we, Dawson?
It's time to play Sling It Forward, the game that's suspiciously familiar. Brought to you by Sling TV. All right, so these are the actual Sling TV descriptions of the movies. When you know the answer, buzz in with your name. Adam will be playing as Pete. First to 5 wins. On the brink of their divorce, an estranged couple creates an advanced weather alert system.
Pete. Tornado.
By putting themselves...
Damn it.
Brian. Yeah, Twister.
Shit.
Twister from 1996.
God damn it.
That was the first time I ever saw Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh,
Most of us ever saw Philip Seymour Hoffman.
That's right, before Boogie Nights.
That's right.
Yeah.
After discovering he is actually a human, a man raised in the North Pole...
Brian. Elf.
From 2003.
Oh, of course.
What a delightful movie.
We just watched it. I was thinking Call of the Wild, something like that.
A botched mid-air heist results in a suitcase full of Pete.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, it's DB down. It's the story of the guy, DB Sweeney. No, DB Cooper, but it's not. I'm going to say. Oh shit! It's all right. I got nothing.
In a suitcase full of cash, being searched for, by various groups.
Pete. They don't have an answer, and I know it's Cliffhanger.
From 1993, it is Cliffhanger.
That's right. Good call.
Two lifelong platonic friends look to solve their respective cash flow problems by making an adult film together.
Brian. This is Zach and Mary make a porno.
From 2008.
Oh, yeah. Getting those two names right. That's the tough part of that. I think we all knew the movie, but we didn't know the names.
A Hapless Young Viking.
Pete. How to Train Your Dragon.
From 2010.
Nice.
Oh, no way.
Come on now.
That's an excellent movie, too. Good job.
Oh, my God.
In 1990.
Well, hold on a second. There's not a lot of hapless young Vikings in like live action movies. You know what I mean?
I couldn't tell. I figured it was about training a dragon. I don't know if there's a hapless young Viking involved.
There's not a lot of choices for hapless. It's always, courageous or, they killed his wife
Determined.
And now he's vows revenge. Not a lot of hapless young.
That's true.
Is Gina playing?
I hate you.
In 1997, when the U.S. president crashes into Manhattan.
Pete.
Oh, damn it.
Wait a minute. Escape from New York.
From 1981.
Yeah, we did the 97 thing. Like that was the future, remember?
That was the future, yep.
Brian and Pete are knotted up at 3. Gina is still silent.
I haven't seen any of these movies except Elf.
At the end of his career, a clueless fashion model.
Pete.
Brian.
God. Oh, God
Get
damn it.
me on the board.
I can't think of that guy's name.
Give up.
I already rang in.
Yeah.
No, but I thought we had to re-ring in.
No, Brian's going to go because I'm going to say Bowfinger, and it's what's his name instead.
Yeah, it's Zoolander.
From 2001.
Yeah. That's one of the cases where they made a sequel years later, and it came and went. I never saw it. I don't think I even knew it was out. The sequel came out like 2 years ago, right?
Nobody knows.
Maybe a little more. But yes, definitely a sequel that no one really cared about.
A star bowler.
Pete.
Gina.
Kingpin.
What?
From 1996.
Well, we're gonna have to go to the tape on that one.
I agree.
An FBI agent.
Pete.
Gina.
Point Break.
And Gina.
Wait, were you still going?
You rang in. Let's go. Let's hear it.
I was going to say Point Break.
And an Interpol detective.
Oh, I know it.
You can buzz in, Gina. You're still
buzz in?
eligible.
Oh, great.
Well,
keep going.
Affirmative action. Yeah.
Track a team of illusionists.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Shit. It's with the guy who played Zuckerberg, and it was all
Brian.
They're magicians.
Speaking of sequels, the sequel should have been called Now You Don't, because this movie's called Now You See Me.
That's right.
From 2013 for the win, Now You See Me.
Man.
The sequel should have been Now You Don't.
Yes, I agree.
Sling It Forward. Brought to you by Sling TV.
Well, a pretty well-played game, except for Gina. Make the smart choice and switch to Sling TV. Get the best cable for the best price. Easy to switch and save, and you can learn more at sling.com/Adam. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back, and Gina's going to shine doing the news right after this.
Give me the news with Grad. News with Gina Grad. Breaking viral, all those crazy Trump tweets. Give me news with Gina Grad. Trouble in the Middle East. Celebrity drunk meltdowns. Need news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Let's start with some hot vaccine news. Let's start with a little piece of trivia, and then we'll get down to the scandal. So now that there is a COVID-19 vaccine and it's a reality, now there's a big jump, a big uptick in numbers of Americans who are willing to get it. So first, everybody was squeamish. Now 3/4 of Americans say they'll get it. That includes 46% who say they'll wait a little to see how other people do. 32% say they'll wait even longer, and then 20% say they'll never get it. 2/3 of Democrats.
20%. 1 out of 5 people.
First things first, I don't believe everybody. It's like I said this a week ago. People people get polled and they go, I'm not going to take it because they like the way it sounds. Sure. And then what you don't realize is there's an emulsification process that takes place. So somebody asked you 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago before the vaccine, are you going to take it? And you go, no, I'm not going to take it.
Yeah.
And then
your knee-jerk reaction, perhaps.
And also, it's not that 20% of Americans don't like vaccines. 20% of Americans are sort of naysayer, asshole, sort of contrarians. That's who they are. If you ask them, are you gonna take some ice cream on your apple pie? No, I'm not. I'm gonna have to do that.
No.
Why? Who wants to know? Right. Yeah. Who? You want me to do it? I'm not doing it.
Tell me what to do.
Right. So that's really what you're saying. They're not saying I don't like vaccines. They're saying I want to say to you something different than you want to hear. So there's.
But at 20%, if we picked a random group of 10 people. And I know what you're saying, but you don't think there'd be 2 being like, no, not me. Like, I could see that. Just
I can see it, but there's also another thing. So you think about this. Think about a subject like gay marriage, And I don't know if they're going to vaccinate gays or not. I don't know. I think the jury's still out. But,
to consider human being.
Well, obviously, it merits a discussion. But the point is this. You take your average American and you go, what about gay marriage? And then 80% of them go, gay marriage? No, I don't think so. No, that's not right. And then you let a little time go by and you see a bunch of couples getting married, and then you hear about Anderson Cooper's married or whatever. And then you ask those people after some time pass, and they go, gay marriage? Oh, I guess it's okay. That's what people are doing.
The idea has a steep.
Yeah, it's like emulsification in your brain. So you ask people 3 weeks ago, you're going to get a vaccine, and a percentage of them go, no, I'm not going to do it. And then you see Santa getting his vaccine and Fauci getting his vaccine and Pelosi and Mike Pence. And you start to go, that's kind of how it works.
To your point. So Mike Pence, Joe Biden, they've gotten it. Somebody else got it, and they are catching hell for having gotten it. So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has been given the shot, and fellow squad member Ilhan Omar from Minnesota has called it shameful.
Oh, boy.
So Omar called AOC out on Sunday for jumping the line as a young, healthy lawmaker and not waiting until seniors and frontline workers got their shot, according to New York Post. And there's a lot of lawmakers that are sort of on board with that now. So AOC said she and other members of the House of Representatives were being, quote, urged to take the vaccine.
Yeah, I thought that Congress was like under orders, but like they're supposed to get it early.
You could abstain, I guess, as some are doing. And she says this is in accordance with national security protocols. She taped the whole thing and said it's not scary and this is what's going on. And she thought that would be helpful. But a lot of people weren't down with it. Some questioning why politicians were getting the shot before healthcare workers had received theirs. So she called her shameful.
Well, Ilhan Omar's a bitch. I mean, she's just a fucking bitch. She hates everything. She hates this country. She's a fucking bitch. So if someone, look, obviously you jump the line or your dad works for Pfizer and it gets you in the back door, that's something. If somebody just puts it out, hey, does everyone want a vaccine? Want the vaccine? You go, fine. That ain't jumping the line.
Yeah, does anyone have a problem with like Congress and Senate and the Supreme Court?
I don't. At this point, just get it to as many people as you can get it to. I think we're making a lot about the jumping the line thing. But, yeah, AOC is 31. She's a female. She's not fat. She's in good health and probably at almost zero risk for this thing. So there's that argument. On the other hand, if they're offering it to you, you take it.
I'd imagine, yeah.
And I think that's the two sides of this. Like Dr. Fauci, who I think is like 79, like in late 70s, he got it, because it's like, well, which side are you on? Either you don't get it and you get accused of why, what do you know that we don't know? And you do get it to show people it's safe. And well, why do you get to go? So, it's you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I have no idea why you'd want to call her out on in this particular subject. That seems like an asinine thing to do. Yeah. There's so many other things, but you guys are on the same squad. You are the squad. Well, what are you going against your own musketeer for? She got it. It's fine. Give it out. I think women are faring better than men. At least I heard a stat that they're doing better with COVID than men. It's funny. Oh, it's an interesting stat. You don't really talk about it, but I think women are doing better than men. It's kind of interesting because you hear all the blacks aren't doing as well and Hispanics aren't, but women doing better than men, that's not a good theme for the news because it's always oppression and, white men and blah, blah, blah. But I think women are doing better than men with this. It's the kind of thing that could be talked about if it fit some fucking narrative, but it doesn't fit a narrative. Right. It's just information. The narrative is women are oppressed and they're in a minority group and blah, blah, blah. In mid-October, every 10 women claimed by versus 12 men. So they're doing a little bit better than men in this particular situation.
Well, remember, and I'll never forget, the amazing Christmas miracle of Alyssa Milano and James Woods coming together on social media to help get the horses out of the fires in California.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We still celebrate that in our house.
I'm telling you, look to James and Alyssa whenever you need to see two people from very different backgrounds coming together. And now we have a new example, Alyssa Milano and Phil Robertson from Duck Dynasty on the same page. Totally simpatico when it comes to the new coronavirus relief bill. They both think it's, well,
that was me. Sorry.
Okay.
Right.
I had to answer the door. They both think that it's basically an affront to Americans. So Roberts, he's the elder on Duck Dynasty, staunch conservative, backer of President Trump, said in his post, and we have the picture because the picture's great, but he says, it says, well, first, let's read the beginning. It says, one kingdom-minded redneck can help a down-and-out redneck better than the government ever could. And he quotes himself and says, #JesusPoliticsBook, which I guess is the Bible. He says, politicians put people out of work, killed small businesses, and said it was to protect us. And now Congress wants to send Americans $600 for their troubles. If we turn that responsibility over to the government and let ungodly legislators determine how to help us and how to spend our money, there's no doubt our money will be used for ungodly ends. And Alyssa couldn't agree more. She said between 30 and 40 million families are at risk of eviction, but Congress can only afford $600 per person. I'm sure the $500 million in arms and military aid to Israel and the $2 billion for Air Force missiles will help keep them warm when they're on the streets. Now, those are just two examples. I did a little research into this. There is a lot of foreign aid in this coronavirus bill. And when it's, up almost $1 trillion. There's stuff you can sneak in for whoever, for Israel, for Sudan, for Pakistan. And there's a lot of extras in there and possibly very important, just not to do with Americans and their checks being mailed to them.
Yeah, that stuff used to be earmarked. So they would add things on and it would be earmarked. And at some point they got rid of the earmarking. And so now you can't tell the stuff that got tacked on. Like, right. I want to name this bridge after my local senator. We need another $100,000. That stuff used to be earmarked, and then you could spot it. At some point, they did away with the earmarking, and now it's just part of the 5,000, 5,500 pages. I mean,
why would they do that?
They give this
shit that ever passed.
They give this shit out at noon. It's 5,500 pages, and then we got to vote at 3 p.m. Who would possibly read 1/50th of that? Who could? Why even give someone a copy? Why even give? It's like, I will give you 5 phone books, and then we will vote. I'll give you literally 5 phone books, and we're going to vote in 20 minutes. Like, why even bother giving it to somebody? Who would ever? Who can begin to read it?
And apparently, it was the centrists on both sides that we could probably start a new political group, a political category of just centrists, because they're closer together than, people in their own party, that were getting together, burning the midnight oil and trying to hammer this out. And, Mitt Romney, I can't remember, McCluskey, I can't remember the whole group, but they got together. They were the ones that apparently started spearheading this. And then one of the lawmakers, as sort of a celebration at the end, brought his own 180 proof moonshine to celebrate. Mitt Romney did not partake, but it was offered to him. So this, and I only looked at Australia just for comparison, but there's this meme going around that shows you all the aid going to individuals in other countries. And I was like, these things tend to not be accurate. But at least the two I looked up were where it's like, whatever, I'm making this up. But like Australia, each person gets $1,700 a month. In Germany, you get $2,300 a month or whatever. And America, $600 for 32 weeks. What are people going to do?
I don't know what this is supposed to solve.
Well, there is more. I did a little bit of a dive on it, and there's a little more to it that involves unemployment insurance and stuff like that.
It's another extra $300.
It's not as bleak as just here's $600.
Right.
See if you can stretch out a month, but it's still not. It's not much, and I'm sure there's still a ton of fucking money going to places and other businesses and other things that we earmarked toward, there's stuff earmarked toward movie theaters and airlines. Sure. And of course, there's going to be a shitload of money going to places other than just out of work Americans. And we're now living in that era. I don't know. Or maybe we're always living in that era. I don't know that's avoidable. All I got to say to you people is you got to cover your own ass. You just do. You have to have some money set aside. You have to sort of plan your life in such a way. You have to sort of shape your business or your life.
So John Mulaney, celebrated comedian, often jokes about his sobriety in his stand-up act. He is checked into rehab for alcohol and cocaine addiction.
Oh.
According to Page Six, he'll spend the next 60 days at a treatment facility in Pennsylvania. He said he started drinking at 13 years old, didn't fight rehab at all. A source says John's friends and family are happy that he's finally getting some help and focusing on his health. John had been sober for 15 years, but they said the lockdown was apparently what caused this slip up. And Mulaney apparently had acted as Pete Davidson's sober buddy on SNL. So sometimes that's, helpful to have someone with you. But he does. I mean, I know his stand up very well, and he jokes all about, how he used to be a blackout drinker. And it's funny because he doesn't look like a guy who used to do anything, and tells all these crazy blackout drinking stories. And it's just sort of reared its head again.
Well, if you're going to be home all day, and I mean, one of the greatest adages ever is the devil makes work for idle hands. When you're just hanging out all day and you got nowhere to go and you're staring at that bottle of scotch or vodka, it's just so goddamn easy.
Add in the fact that he's probably used, his lifestyle probably over the last 10 years has been go, 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 right? Writing, producing, preparing the beer, whatever. And now it's like, all right, put it all on hold.
Yeah. And I could see that with a lot of people. But I mean, if it's not booze, it's food. It's lethargy. It's watching way too much TJ Hooker. What?
For example,
a lot of Love Boat.
Yeah, you're a loser when a new episode of TJ Hooker comes on, and you're like, oh, and then you're like, oh, I just saw this one, and then I go, fuck it, I'm watching it again.
Go ahead again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, speaking.
Yes.
So he's going to be there for 60 days. So that doesn't, that seems pretty significant. And more power to him, because, if you watch enough of like the show Intervention, you're constantly negotiating with these people. Like, okay, final offer, 15 days, then I get to leave, but for someone who's committing to 2 months, that seems like a big deal.
You can't.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Drew. Yeah. Well, Drew always says, the people that want to do the weekend or something, it's like, no way. No, but also he scares people because he goes, you're going to be in, 2 months, 60 days. And everyone's like, 60 days. And then it's a deal breaker. So we wish him well.
Yes. Speaking of alcohol, an Oklahoma father is in jail after he chose to get his 2-year-old to be his drinking buddy. So he's 27. And he's James Watts. I think we have his mugshot. He thought it would be funny if his toddler took a sip of Smirnoff Ice that she was given. So he let her take another sip and then posted the video on Snapchat and captioned it, "My baby gun be drunk. She liking it a little too much."
Definitely not the Jew.
Please get that.
Oh, boy.
Please get that.
Yeah, we're seeing the picture. Probably not a Jew.
The mother saw the Snapchat, immediately called 911. Police arrested him, charged him with child neglect, and he's being held for $50,000.
I would argue that's the opposite of child neglect.
That's what I said.
I don't think
too involved.
I wish my parents were into me to the extent that they'd give me a draw off their malt-based liquor. I wish my dad would have taken the time to so I could have caught a nice buzz and dealt with my life back then.
Gone are the days of giving him like a sip of gin and like swearing him off booze for the next decade. Like the Smirnoff Ice is tasty.
Yeah,
kid's gonna fucking love that.
I know.
Like candy.
Yeah. Don't think I haven't given some consideration to once the kids can drive, once Sonny can drive pretty good, maybe next season if we're watching a football game and, Daddy has a couple IPAs, toss him the keys.
Well, I think that's totally rational. I think that's what most people think.
Good.
Fine.
Yeah, I'll run that up Drew's flagpole and look at his face, see what he has to say.
He just checked another box.
Yeah.
That's safer than what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say it's not a bad idea to get him to learn how to drive just a little buzzed.
Gina.
Oh.
For God's sake.
Yeah,
that's nowhere near what he was going to say. Jesus Christ.
Hold on.
Adam, we'll take care of this.
Let me write this down. Little buzzed.
Gina says.
Okay, what's the definition of little buzzed?
Just a nice vibe going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chill
Right.
vibe. Chill.
Let's move on to people playing Santa Claus this year. So Kim Kardashian, she's the new stimulus check. We don't need a real stimulus check. We have Kim. She's partnering with, I think, the Cash App. And she tweeted Monday, she's giving away $500,000. She said this in a tweet: "Hey guys, it's the most important, wonderful time of the year. I know 2020 has been a really hard for people struggling, worried about putting food on the table, paying rent, or a gift under the tree. I want to spread the love by sending $500 to 1,000 people. Send me your cash tag below with hashtag KKW holiday." And she is partnering with this, so I don't know that it's coming out of her pocket directly, but 1,000 people will get $500. That's being the helpful Honda.
Yeah, what the helpful Honda guy. Yeah, the New World Order, as we talked about, since everything is DVR and everyone fast forwards through all the commercials, everything is integrated now, right?
Yes.
So when you watch a show like Extra and you see the celebrity comes on and they're interviewed and you're kind of like, what are they doing this for? At some point, the last 30 seconds, they sort of dovetail into, and I'm also working with Visa. And their Visa rewards program. So it's like the person is now doing a commercial in the interview because that's the only way they can get it into the body. So Billy Bush goes, we'll talk to one of the Kardashians. And then the Kardashians go, here's the caveat. I got to talk about Visa.
I remember this I remember a lot from just listening to the radio, but especially when we were doing the radio show every year around Super Bowl. Oh, this old timer wants to come out and just talk about football. And then they're like, oh, I'm also working with American Express on this very exciting new, you'd get a lot of, I don't know, Dick Butkus or Jerry Rice or whoever, Joe Namath. Let me come on and talk to you about football. Oh, and by the way.
Right.
The only way we could interview James Lipton on the show was if we talked about his knee pillow for seniors when you sleep on your side.
Really?
That's helpful.
He redirected every single question back to that knee pillow. God bless him. It was like a pro.
If you go to heaven, what would you like God to say to you when you get to the pearly gates? Thank you for your knee pillow. It's a true blessing.
Yeah, what you want is the celebrity who agrees to do it and then doesn't give a shit once they do the interview and never brings it up. And then the other ones that are super dutiful. And then the other ones that probably have the publicist for knee pillow sitting right there, like pointing at something, going, come on, bring it up again. All right,
and it's super old school. Well, just because that's something that like Johnny Carson used to do. You would do it in the middle of the show, and now that's how we have to get people's attention again.
Ed McMahon would do Alpo commercials. Oh. Do you remember Alpo?
The dog food?
Yeah, like when I was a kid. It's kind of weird when you're a kid. There's only one of everything. Like
there's dog food.
There's only one rice dish. It's rice-a-roni. Like that's it. There's just one. There's just one of everything. And Alpo is the dog food. And I think you can find it, Maxipata. But Ed McMahon would do like live hits for Alpo in the middle. By the way, the Tonight Show used to be on from like midnight to 1:30 or something like that. You're sitting home drunk. You see Ed McMahon up there talking about Alpo. You think you pop up and go, I'm going to the market.
That reminds me.
Nobody needs dog food at 12:45.
And if they do, they don't give a shit about the dog.
Right. I get it when you see one of those Carl's Jr. double Baconator burger things and you go, fuck, I'm going to the drive-in. Open 24 hours. Like, I'm out of here. But dog food? I don't know. I think he would do Budweiser. Let's see. We'll show you Ed McMahon.
And now that master of wisdom, who's wiser than his master, Alpone the Magnificent. Alpone will divine the answer to the hidden question.
Spot check.
Spot check. How does Spot pay his bills? Amazing. And Alpone knows what's in Alpo beef chunk dinner, too. Real beef and complete nutrition for a dog's whole life. So remember Alpone's wisdom. Alpo has the beef dogs love to eat. 1,000 blessings on your house and puppy.
There you go, doing live. Probably did Budweiser, too.
He did do Budweiser, too.
All right, let's do one more, Gina.
All right. Well, I know you hate this. Everybody puts it in the same category every year of heartwarming, and I know it's more heartburning for you. So I would be remiss if we didn't do one in 2020. An anonymous shopper has come through at a Walmart in Bristol, Tennessee, donated $65,000 to pay off the items placed on the store's layaway. And the donation was enough to pay for all of the layaway items in the store. The manager sent out notifications to customers, letting them know their items had been paid off by a secret Santa. And the man would like to remain anonymous, but he did allow the manager to pass along the message saying he wants to tell you that he loves you and God bless you.
Well, this year I can look the other way. In general,
you don't like when it's
other years. I don't like when LeBron James comes in and pays off everyone's shit because it's a horrible message. Everyone should have the experience of layaway, but then some celeb comes in and makes them whole. I don't like that. But this year, I will abide by it.
One-time exception.
All right,
it is a Christmas miracle.
Let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Well, last but not least, there's Tommy John. You had enough to deal with this year, haven't you, people? This year, let's give the gift of comfort to everyone on your list and do it for yourself. Tommy John, men's and women's loungewear. This stuff is so comfortable. It is so nice. It is so nice to putz around the house in this. Say bye to the old stained sweatpants. Tommy John loungewear, luxurious, soft, guaranteed to fit perfectly. It is just, I don't know, it's better than all the stuff you've had previously. It's like the underwear and the t-shirts. I'm wearing the underwear and the t-shirt, and I just did a Tucker hit in it. So there's some free advertising for you. Tommy John, they got a limited edition sets, perfect for gifting, but they always sell out fast. So get on it. It's Tommy John, right, Dawson?
Order now. Go to TommyJohn.com/Adam for $30 off site-wide and get last-minute holiday deals for a limited time only. Get $30 off for a limited time at TommyJohn.com/Adam. TommyJohn.com/Adam. See site for details.
Well, we'll talk to billionaire Grant Cardone, who's doing a really interesting show that I'll tell you all about, Undercover Billionaire, and we'll do that right after this. Grant Cardone has joined us. The TV show Undercover Billionaire Season 2 premieres January 6, 8 p.m. on Discovery. So Grant is stripped of his name and his wealth and his contacts and then dropped into a city. And with only $100 to see how long it takes for him to build a $1 million company or see if he can do it in just 90 days. Good to speak to you again, Grant.
Hey, Adam, always good to be with you, man. I'm a big fan.
Well, thanks. I'm very intrigued by this premise of this show. Something I've always known just on a small scale from the guys I know who are, just guys like Jimmy Kimmel or guys that I know that are really successful and hardworking. You could put them anywhere and they would find their way back to success in a very short period of time. And also, you could put them in another profession. Like Jimmy would make an excellent lawyer. If you ever want to go that direction. What is your head on that stuff?
Yeah, so I think, when Discovery called me and said, hey, could you do this? I said, well, I think I could do it. The question is, who would do this? Like by choice, you wouldn't want to lose everything. Your name goes away, your connections. Like I said, I think I could pull it off. The problem is the 90 days.
Right.
You know, how do you rebuild from $100 and build $1 million business in 90 days? During COVID, 40 million people got unemployed while I was doing this. The biggest economic contraction since the Great Depression. I thought maybe I could do this under normal conditions, and then COVID, add the COVID component. And it's like, dude, I'm telling you, it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, Adam.
So what is somebody who knows how to build a $1 billion business? What is their first thing? So I wouldn't know the first thing to do. And I don't mean that I mean it literally. Like, I wouldn't know physically where to go or who to talk to. What is the first thing you do?
Yeah. So the first thing you have to do is, first thing I did, and by the way, you can formalize this in your head, but until, like Tyson says, until you get punched in the face, you know, the fight plan kind of goes out the window. When I arrived in this city, I can't tell you what city it was. I'd never been there. I didn't have any connections there. I didn't know about the business climate there. I had 3 hours of sunlight left. So the first thing you're going to do is go into self-preservation. Like, where do I sleep tonight? I had no shelter. The crew had shelter. I didn't. Mm-hmm. I had no food. I had $100. The first thing I did was I went to zero. I got rid of my $100 because Discovery was like, what are you doing getting rid of the money? I said, look, bring me to the bank. Okay. I had an old truck. So I got in my truck. You guys follow me to the bank. They're like, why are you going to the bank? You only have $100. I said, yeah. And I'm going to get rid of that 100 because that $100 cannot help me. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start meeting people. The third thing I got to do is secure shelter for the night. And, you know, I underestimated how difficult this would be because it's been 30 years since I've had nothing. I mean, I got people around me, employees, you know, I got my name. You know, you don't know how valuable your name is until somebody says, hey, you got to be somebody else. So not only do I need to rebuild this, but I have to rebuild it on a guy that doesn't exist.
Right.
Shaved my head so that none of my social media followers would recognize me. And the first thing I had to do was worry about food, water, and shelter. And it was 15 degrees where they dropped me off, and I hate cold weather.
So the first part of it is sort of naked and afraid. Like, it's not really about building a business or networking. It's like physically surviving.
Yeah.
And
the reason I got rid of the $100 was because I wanted to get down to naked, to being without anything and not depending on some idea that money or a retirement account or equity in my house. So many things that Americans depend on every day that they think is their security, and it's not. And so what I did was I go to zero. By me going to zero on funds, I had to reach out to people and make contacts. The first thing I wanted to do was start making contacts with able, capable people in that particular population of people that could possibly help me over the 90 days build something. Second thing is I was not interested in starting a new business, but tagging along somebody that already had some momentum in a business. I didn't know that 30 years ago. I know it today. You don't need to start from ground zero. You could find somebody that's already got some momentum in the marketplace.
So I imagine your first move with no money and a shaved head is you got to be of service. You got to show up somewhere and make somebody who's got something think that it's a good idea to hook up with you.
Yeah, look, I didn't go looking for a job. You know, people are like, when are you going to get a job? I'm like, dude, I ain't getting a job. My goal is to get $1 million business. You know, when are you gonna go sell something? I'm like, I'm not looking to sell anything. I'm not trying to take care of my household. I'm trying to build $1 million business. I bet $1 million. I told Discovery, if I come up 1 penny short in the 90 days, regardless of what happens, this is pre-COVID, by the way. I said, I will put $1 million into this business in cash if I come up 1 penny short. So my goal wasn't to get funds. It wasn't to get a handout. It wasn't to get, there's the problem with the government. I think you and I would agree. The handout wasn't going to help me, dude. I didn't need $100, $500, or $1,000. I didn't need to sell tires or car. I needed to build $1 million business. And the only way you can do that is exactly what you said, to make contact and then start giving more service and solving problems of able people so that they would say, lend credence to me and say, hey, we're impressed with you, even though you don't exist as a human being, literally with a new name. because of the value I provided people. Hopefully they would want to do some other business with me and we could start a business. But you don't know that when you're hungry, you're cold, you're trying to hustle for a bed at night. You're in question constantly about, is this even going to work?
I think the being of service part, that's the part where a lot of Americans sort of miss the train. So it's the kind of working for free and the being of service. So all the people I know who are unsuccessful only wanted to know how much you're going to pay me. I'll do this thing, but we got to talk about getting paid. All the successful people I know were willing to work for free, wanted to be of service. Their whole plan, and it was my plan. It's kind of how I got into show business, which is like, I'm going to show up. I'm not going to ask for money. I'm going to prove myself to you guys. And you are going to say, I want this guy around. Where is this guy?
100%. So you showed up, you got on the stage, you performed, people laughed. People said, aha, let's get him back again. I never asked for a handout in the entire 90 days that I'm there. I never asked anybody to give me anything. Just give me an opportunity. By the way, that exists in America. The reason I did this show was to prove to people that the American dream is alive and well, regardless of the Democrats, the Republicans, COVID, pre-COVID, whatever excuse it is you have in your marketplace. The goal of this was for me to validate and prove to people the American dream is alive and well if you have a strategy and a commitment and you have urgency. And that is one thing that's really missing from people with these government programs is everybody's going to bail you out. So you don't have the urgency and the compression. Pressure makes diamonds. So people don't have this urgency and pressure to deliver in hopes that, hey, look, I'm going to find somebody that wants to build something that can actually provide me with financial freedom, not just a financial paycheck.
Well, you said urgency, and it made me think of consistency as well. Like, it's one thing to show up and work for free one day or 5 days. It's another thing to do it for 6 months or a year. A lot of people slough off. You know what I mean? They're not getting what they want as fast as they think they should get it. And they kind of slough off. They kind of go away. And what would you say to somebody? So a lot of people are working jobs they don't necessarily like. Maybe it's not their goal or their dream, and they want to get into another business. They have to maintain their job because that's the way they put food on the table. What is the best way for that person to transition into this other business?
Yeah, so what I do, and I do it on this show, is you'll see me basically use enforced urgency constantly on myself. Because of my platform, because of what I do for a living, I'm out there telling people the American dream is real and it's alive and you can make money, and I help companies grow their sales. I had a tremendous amount, not just my time and my money at risk, but I had my brand at risk. Like if this falls apart and I don't prove this, like it could crush my brand. So what I did was I enforce urgency on myself by staying broke all the time. Like even when I got money, I would get rid of the money as fast as I could so that I had to go make contacts. People don't understand, but like if you're going to be successful in anything, whether it's entertainment or business, you have to make contacts and you have to keep refreshing and making new contacts. And Jimmy Kimmel, you used him. He had to get some breaks along the way. And he got breaks because of something he had done. Somebody was thinking about him. Somebody saw him. You got to show up. You have to keep delivering. And you won't create that urgency if you're trying to get out of your old deal into a new deal. You cannot do that if you're saving money and storing money as your solution, because the saved money that you have or the equity you have in your home or your retirement account is not going to help you build that thing that you want to build.
Yeah, I know. I always say, don't be in save a nickel mode, be in make a dollar mode. And it's kind of hard, in a way. We all have our favorite football teams, and we've all experienced that situation where your team was winning the whole game, your team was getting to the quarterback, your team was sacking the quarterback, and so on and so forth. And now with 2 minutes left, the other team gets the ball, you're up by 6, And then your team goes into prevent defense, right? They stop rushing. They put in the nickel package. And next thing you know, they're just picking and dinking and dunking. And next thing you know, they're like moving the ball right down the field. And you're like, don't be in protect the lead mode. You were getting to the quarterback. You were succeeding for 3 3/4 quarters. Go after the do what got you there. And you've all seen it a million times. The second they start protecting that lead, it just goes away.
Or the ref makes a bad call in the last 30 seconds and the whole game gets thrown away. Why? Not because of a bad call, because there wasn't enough points on the board. And money, finance, and business success, and even entertainment success, is about being on offense, not on defense. And so what you're going to see in the show is you're going to see me stay with nothing, by the way. No name, no connections, no phone. I had a piece of shit truck. I cannot use any of my experience in the past. What I'm doing is I'm staying on offense every day to build something. Even when I got money, I would act like that money was zeroed out and then go back to contacts, people in the marketplace, and see what I could do to deliver a service to them and then build value for them, build wins and victories for them where they wanted to be like, hey, I want to help this guy on his offensive plays. I grew up in a family where my mom was on defense every single day. This is the entire middle class of America. Saving money, protecting money, trying to do a retirement account, trying to pay their house off, pay their cars off. It's a bullshit old way of doing things. And you can see the financial situation of Americans today. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck. They don't have any money in savings. They can't keep up with the destruction of cash. And the guys that are winning are the guys that are spending 95% of their time on offense, even going into debt, not being paid to do it for a big score in the future.
Well, what most people don't realize is everybody is willing to break you off a piece if you're making their pie deeper. If you're making them money, they're more than happy to give you money. They can't. They hope, you know, if they're giving you 10% or 20% and they're getting 80 or 90%, they hope you double your income every 10 minutes. That just makes them richer. So they don't really get that part where you offer a service, you help them in their business, and people are more than happy to pay you. As a matter of fact, they don't even look at it as paying you. They look at it as you paying them because they're keeping 90% of it.
And we're just not trained or educated to do that. We're educated in this country to save money. That was perpetuated by the banks. The banks are the winners when you save money.
Right.
When you invest and keep investing, you're at risk, but that risk is always going to pay off bigger, as you suggested. I'd rather 20% of an upside of something rather than a paycheck today that I'm going to spend, my kids are going to use, it's going to get blown. I want the upside of possibility rather than a paycheck today.
Well, how did you get from where you started off to where you are and what you became? Let's kind of walk through your life story.
So, yeah, I grew up, my dad died when I was 10 years old. He was the provider in the family. He paid everything off. He did everything that the middle class is told to do. He was 52 when he died. It left my mom with 5 kids. Debt was paid, house was paid off, cars are paid off. He had some money from life insurance. My mom was having to sell the home that my dad had paid for the following week after his death. So I learned at a very young age, dude, just playing the reduced to zero on the debt and paying everybody off is not how you get freedom. Financial freedom is created not because you paid things off, but because you have new sources of income coming. You know, the adage was back in the day was cash is king. Truth is cash is trash. It's garbage. What you need is investments that pay you rather than you're working or not. Back to that conversation about you need to build something that pays you whether you're working or not.
I know.
So when I got out of college with a drug problem, cleaned up my drug problem at 25, learned how to sell, became a salesman, hated sales, hated talking to people. I was very introverted as a younger me. And I learned how to start talking to people and communicating. And every time I would sell something, if I got a $200 commission, I'd throw that $200 away and act like I didn't have any money. And I kept doing that for years until I felt comfortable to invest the money. My first investment was literally 100% of all my money in a piece of real estate that produced income. And so over the last 30 years now, going from a job that I hated. I turned that job that I hated into becoming very good at it and instructing other people and companies how to do that, and made some good investments along the way. And today, rather than being $40,000 in debt, now I'm like $1 billion in debt. But I got a bunch of businesses that actually take care of me and my family, my charities, and about 500 employees.
What did your dad do?
My dad was he was a stockbroker when he died, but he had done sales. He owned a grocery store. He had sold life insurance, and then when he passed, he was a stockbroker. But it was interesting because on the weekends he would shop real estate with the family. So here's a guy selling stocks, looking at real estate, and I think that got kind of like dropped into me, like, hey, the real gig is the real estate, real assets.
Where are some it's sad that it's not really taught in our institutions or schools. I'm a product of this. I come from a family that had no idea what to do with money or what it was. Everyone sort of worked for the VA or government institutes and institutions and got paid a little bit of money. And then every conversation was, we don't have enough money for, here's why we can't do anything or have a new car. And that just seemed to be their lot in life, is to just wring their hands over money and not having enough money. They never spent 5 minutes thinking of a way to make more money. They spent all their time talking about not having money, and here's why we can't go out to eat, or here's why we can't do what we want to do. It's such a bizarre mindset. You sit around all day talking about why you can't do X, Y, and Z, and I know everyone wants to go on a vacation and wants to blah, 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 but here's why we can't. But you don't carve out 5 goddamn minutes to go, well, how can I make more money?
Exactly. Like a guy told me simply, hey, look, you can take your expenses to zero. You can't take them lower than that.
Right.
You can take your income as you can think. And unfortunately, the schools don't teach that. The schools teach adding and subtracting when we should be teaching multiplication and division, because the way to create wealth is through multiplication, not through adding and subtracting. And again, this benefits the banks. For instance, the house. People think buying a house is the way to create financial freedom. No one has ever created financial freedom because they bought and paid for a house, but it sure benefited the banks. And so I think people are starting to see right now, hey, something is incorrect particularly since 2008. Something is incorrect with our educational system on finances with so many people, well-intended, hardworking, people that are, doing the right things, supposedly the right things, that end up at the end of their life still going to a Marriott or picking their vacation because of the free breakfast program.
Yeah.
And the point.
Well, as I'm sort of fond of saying, the people that are teaching your children, are already indoctrinated into this system. If you want to think of what is the opposite of an entrepreneur, the opposite of an entrepreneur is a school teacher. You get any place where you get tenure, you get in a union, you get X amount, you don't get rich, you get enough to live, but it's all guaranteed, and you make your deal with the devil. You get your health care, you get your days off, you get your summers free, you get a little stipend, you can live in a modest home or apartment, and then we have these numbskulls teaching our kids about finances. Well, of course they're not interested in it. They've opted out. They're not in the game. They have nothing to do. There's nothing. An independent truck driver has a lot more to do with finance in business than a school teacher does. And they're ashamed because they've all just fucking tapped out and taken the weak road. Everyone does, they're heroes, they're heroes, they're heroes. Bullshit. Most of them just went, this is a fucking easy way out. It's guaranteed. I'm never going to work more than a 35 and a half hour week. Fuck it. And that's what if you don't think it's going on, I'm in LA. My kids haven't been able to go back to school for 9 months because the teachers unions don't want to fucking leave their house, even though there's no danger. So these are the opposite of entrepreneurs. These people have nothing to do with the entrepreneurial spirit and would be the worst people on the fucking planet teaching your kids this subject. And by the way, that's why it's not taught. I'm sure of it.
They don't even look at it like it's not even taught, right? Entrepreneur is someone that manages a business or businesses and takes on more than greater risk, more than normal greater risk in order to do so. So if you're an entrepreneur out there and you're not taking risks with debt, with money, if you're not going broke, if you're not risking showing up at a meeting where there's no payoff for you, like you're not an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurs take risk and teachers don't take risk. And of all the teachers, look, I spent 17 years in the school system, so people can, if anybody can bash on it, I can, because I spent 17 years there to walk out and not know, with an accounting degree, not know how to balance a checkbook. I did not know how to multiply. I did not know how to leverage. I did not know how to get a loan. I did not know how to get a business loan. And I did not know how to evaluate a business. Like, how can you get an accounting degree, pass it, and not know any of those basic things?
It is essentially a little bastion of socialism. It is as close as we have to socialism in this country. If you think about just tenure, a tenured professor. You have a job you can never be fired from, no matter what your performance. You have very small amount of money, but you give it all up for security. And yes, we do not want these people teaching our kids this subject, and there is a reason why it's not being taught. Also, there's probably been more talk over the last 7 months about working in the Black Lives Matter curriculum into schools, and zero talk about finances and the entrepreneurial spirit and starting your own business. So here we are. We're in this horrible economic meltdown. Everyone's waiting for the government to give them a little piece of a cracker so they can see if they can make it to the next month. And the only thing we're talking about as far as curriculum in schools is Black Lives Matter and, whether we should change the name from the Abe Lincoln Academy to the George Washington Carver Academy. That's it. So obviously these assholes aren't interested in any of this shit, and I believe it's because they're ashamed. I believe they tapped out.
They gave up on the dream. So why would they want to teach it to anyone? They've already given up on the dream. Yes. You said it exactly right earlier. All they want is their retirement account, which, by the way, will fail them. Okay, it's just a matter of when. We just printed 21% of all the U.S. dollars ever printed in the history of this country were printed this year.
Wow.
So you know what we're moving to, okay? Like, that was before the 900 million that was approved. And Biden's going to drop another couple of trillion on top of that in February. So this country's in a lot of trouble. And people that live here need to start paying attention to their finances and start rethinking about, where do I need to be? Where do I need to be invested? The stock market's playing a little hoodwink on everybody right now, going up in value. Everybody's going to go chase that little party. They'll be disappointed by that as well. People need, if at any other time in our lifetime, you and I are about the same age. I'm a little older than you. You guys got to learn the risk game. How could you be dropped off in a town? Nobody knows you. You don't have any money. That's the situation with most people today anyway. Nobody knows you. You have no money. How could you actually build something worth $1 million or $10 million of business in a very short period of time that somebody else would find valuable and actually pay you for? And that's possible without going back to college.
Well, I think the sad state of affairs is, if you took most Americans and put them into that situation, they would just start panhandling. They would literally just stand in front of a Starbucks with a cup. And that means they're not trained, they're not proactive, they're not coached up. I want to talk to you, Grant, right after the break about, you say the stock market's a little catch as catch can. I want to know where you would go for an investment, what you like, real estate, commercial real estate, rental property. You tell us. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with Grant Cardone right after this. All right, back with Grant. The TV show Undercover Billionaire. I'm officially intrigued, and it'll air it'll premiere January 6, 8 p.m. on Discovery. So, Grant, what is the best asset? What is the best place to put your money? What if people have something and they want to start investing? Where should they start?
Well, I first thing I would do is I would invest in yourself. I mean, before I go to an investment, you got to improve your own abilities, your ability to speak to people, communicate with people, make contact with people, move through your fear to actually go into society and meet people that are able, not people that agree with your bullshit. Like you got to learn how to talk to people that have more than you do. And I wouldn't stop at people that are millionaires. I would see what you could do. Like I learned this lesson the hard way. Never take advice from a millionaire. Okay. They're the fucking worst people to take advice from because they're in the conservation mode. They got their little fucking piece of cheese and now they want to conserve it. And they actually never create financial freedom for themselves. They're greedy people. They're just worried about paying off their shit. I would go reach to the people that are risking in your community, that are risking money, taking on debt, trying to hire people and grow things, because those people can help you. So first, I'd invest in myself. Second thing, if you're starting a business, keep reinvesting in your business. The third thing I would invest in today, and I got 7 businesses here, 6 of them fund themselves. We continue to invest in advertising and making the people here better. Any money left over, and this is how I'm going to answer the real question you're asking me, is I would invest in commercial rental real estate in America is going to boom for the next 10 or 15 or 20 years. We're going to become a renter nation. America will look more like Europe in the future than it does America in the past. People will not own homes in the future. They will rent where they live, and anybody that owns rental property will make fortunes in the future. Real assets, not paper assets. Take paper, pieces of paper that they pay you. They give you a check or make a deposit at the bank. Take that and convert fiat paper, US dollars, convert that into real assets and leverage them.
Do you think some of this is connected to a kind of a new world order, which is a lot of people talking about not owning a car? They'll just use Uber, and you won't actually use cash for anything. You'll just use your Uber Eats and the Grubhub, and everything's a kind of digital currency and no more. So, when I grew up, there was like a pride of ownership. You wanted to own that car. You wanted to own that house. People thought that house is paid for in full was a big deal. He owns that car outright. He's done making his payments, or he bought it with cash. But young people, they just want experiences and they'll just sort of pay for it. So they'll do their Uber and so that totally makes sense in this new world order where nobody really wants to own anything. And also they want the freedom. Everyone wants to just get up and leave. If you want to move or go to Europe or whatever, they just want to get up and leave. So it makes sense that everyone's just going to be renting, and not renting necessarily because they're poor, just renting because that's the way they choose to spend their money.
Number one, it'll be a choice. Number two, it'll be economics that force this. So if you're young, if you're 20 years old and you want to go start a business, don't invest any money in a house. Invest money in the business. Okay. Warren Buffett's owned one home his whole life.
Right.
Elon Musk sells PayPal, walks away with $180 million. He reinvested all of it, not part of it, all of it, and took on debt and rented a house. He literally could not buy a house. He went all in. And so I would tell people, yes, use out of choice. Do not own anything if you can. I wouldn't own my clothes if I didn't have to. Get somebody else to pay for them, use them, throw them away, and go get another set. And just use until you create wealth. And then if you want to waste money on homes and cars and yachts and helicopters, do it. But wait until you got so much money that you're like, I need to get rid of the money because it's garbage. I'd rather waste it on a depreciating asset.
Where, other than your books, and I should give a plug because you've got 8 business books, including 10-Time Rule, the only difference between success and failure.
10X rule.
Oh, sorry, 10X.
Come on, man, get on the game.
X, I always go time. Sorry, but I'm a product of LA Unified School District.
Talking about this. Anybody that wants, I wrote a little pamphlet called the Millionaire Booklet. Okay, it's 38 pages. I think it's 38 pages. I mean, it's simple. It's a little tiny book. I'll send it to anybody in your that listens to your podcast for free.
Really? How should they
GrantCardone.com/free books.
Say it one more time.
GrantCardone.com/free books.
And what's in that pamphlet?
That pamphlet is going to teach you the 3 things you have to know about money: how to get it, how to keep it, and how to multiply it.
And again, I feel, you tell me if this seems right. I think there's a certain amount of shame around money. I felt like my family, and kind of back to my school teacher premise, but my family realized that they weren't good at making money, and they felt a little bit of a shame about it. And then it takes on its own energy. And once it takes on its own kind of negative energy, then it becomes like sex or something. Like, we don't talk about that. We don't bring that up. Like, we don't discuss that at the dinner table, you know, but a lot of it was shame-based. Like, they weren't successful. They weren't thriving. They were constantly talking about what they can't afford and how they don't have enough money. And I think the discussion of it would have been a shaming process for them. And so they steered clear of the subject of it, and thus it never came up. There was never discussion about it.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the stuff that we're taught. Money won't make you happy. Did anybody, like, I hear all this crazy shit. Money won't make you happy. Be grateful for what you have. Money is not, money's the root of all evil. It is a bit shame-based, and it's also got hate in it. It's like anybody that has it did something wrong to get it.
Well, they always, there's a million different, daddy's money, and born on third base, thought he hit a triple, and born with a silver spoon in their mouth. And I get it. I mean, people do it to me all the time. Well, what if you never met Jimmy Kimmel? I go, well, what? First off, I sought out Jimmy Kimmel. I didn't meet Jimmy Kimmel. I won after I showed up. That was
Jimmy
number one.
Did Jimmy help you some kind of way?
Yeah, Jimmy was working at a radio station, and I showed up at the radio station, and we became friends, and he helped me. But also,
did Jimmy give you money? Did Jimmy give you money?
No, Jimmy gave me opportunity.
Exactly.
Jimmy didn't have money.
Yeah.
Jimmy
he had opportunity.
He had opportunity. He had experience, and he was able to share that with me. But he never gave me any money. I never asked for any money. I didn't. What was I going to do with money? I needed a job. Like, I needed opportunity. I needed experience. That was what I needed. I never even thought about the money. I didn't even charge. I just worked at the radio station for free for at least a year. I didn't even ask for money. I always kind of knew that whatever I was going to ask for wouldn't have made a difference anyway. I had a friend of mine. So one of my poor friends from the neighborhood who was, how much an hour and money, and you got to pay me. I don't work for free and all that shit. I worked for free for the radio station for about a year. And then they said, we're going to pay you at some point. They said, we'll start paying you. And they said, we'll pay you $50 a bit. So you come in, you do the morning show, you do 2 or 3 bits a week, and you make $100 or $150 a week. And when I told that to my old neighborhood friend, I said, well, now I'm getting paid, because these guys are always obsessed. They're not paying you. They're not paying you. They're not paying you. They're so stuck into that, like $12 an hour would make a difference, And so he said, no. I said, now they are paying me. And he said, by the way, I wasn't 19. I was 30, 31. And he said, how much are they paying you? And I said, $50 a bit. And he was like, are you kidding me? $50 a bit? That's nothing, whatever. And he railed against it for a while. And then when he was done, I said, I should be paying them. I don't care about the money. They're giving me this opportunity. They give me a microphone. Are you kidding me? And, a year and a half later, I was making hundreds of thousands of dollars doing radio. So I knew what's the difference between $50, $75, $200. What's the difference? There's no difference.
You said it perfectly. Like, no amount of money that you'd have asked for would have changed your life, but the opportunity will. And unfortunately, so many of your listeners are like, would you rather $1 billion friends or $1 billion? And 80% of the people are going to take the $1 billion, and you're making the wrong choice. What you want is 1 billion contacts, because if you convert only 5% of those and they give you like nothing, like $100 each, you'll be richer. Like, you'd be 5 or 10 times richer than taking the $1 billion. And unfortunately, we're taught and programmed, get an education, get a job, collect paycheck, go home, jerk off, and be fucking depressed with your life. Rather than, hey, go take risk, put it all in, keep showing up, keep giving, give more than you take. And one day someone will see that you're talented and that you're interested. Make rich people richer. The way to get rich today is to find rich people that want to get richer and help make them richer rather than hating on the rich.
Well, let's talk about relationships, because I feel like that's where people really drop the ball. You realize that all these successful people have great relationships, and they do things for other people, and those people in turn do things for them, and there's loyalty that's involved with that, and it's all about relationships. If all the successful people I know, it all ends up being a relationship, and people screw those up left and right. I've seen it a million times, and also it's what a lot of people do with a relationship is they start leaning on it too hard. You know, they find someone who has more than they do, who's willing to do things for them, and they just keep asking them for favors to the point when that person sees your name on his phone, he doesn't pick up anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, look, the difference between a contract and a contact is an R, and that's it. Like, you need relationships. And not to rail on the schools, but they don't teach that skill there. They do not teach, how do you make contact with somebody? How do you get somebody to see you? How do you get somebody to know you? How do you use social media today, not just to get likes and impressions, but how to convert those people into actually relationships where they want to do something and do business with you. And so all the successful, super, super successful people I know, they have partners, they have people they lean on, they have people they work with, they go to conferences, they go to events where other people, similar people, are doing expansion projects, and they figure out how to help those people in their projects so that when it comes time to get help, they can get that. When I did this thing with Discovery, I did not count how much money I was making. I counted how many contacts I could make. And literally the first 2 weeks I was there, I had targets for contacts each day that I could put into my new phone that was empty, so that I could have hundreds of people that would assist me in the last, use football as an analogy, in the last quarters of this show. I had, 90 days. In the last 30 days of the show, hopefully the first 60 days of contacts and relationships would pay off and help me build a business that was worth $1 million or even $10 million in 90 days.
Did you, judging by the smile on your face, you pulled it off, but we won't.
I did not hit my target. I will tell you that. I did not hit my.
That's your target. Physically, what did you do? Did you show up to businesses? You didn't start a new business. You want to go.
Yeah.
You want to be of service to other people. Did you physically?
My goal was not to start a new business, but I actually ended up starting a new business.
Did you go to places and just physically knock on the door and walk in?
Yep, knocked on doors. I did this when I was 30 years old. I started my first business. I was calling on car dealers in, what was that? That would have been 1995. So
what was that first business?
Say again?
First business in 95.
I was helping car dealers be more consumer friendly, if you believe that or not.
Well, yeah, what was that first business? How did that work?
Yeah, so I would cold call car dealers. I was living in Houston, Texas. I'd go to get as far away from my house as possible so that I couldn't go home and get the comfort of my friends. And I would go to Salt Lake City or Albuquerque or Chicago, and I'd knock on car dealers and say, hey, I'd like 10 minutes with your sales team. I want to show you how you could sell 5 cars by noon today and have your customers be even happier. And some small percentage of car dealers would listen to me, and they would pay me later to do that. But so basically the first thing I did was offer a free service, exactly what you said. Let me show you how I can make you more money. And they would then hire me later and say, hey, we love what you're saying. We love what you're doing. We want to change the way we do things. And I became, I actually built a business cold calling 250 days of the year on the most brutal audience in the world is car dealers. There is no audience for it.
Yeah, the salesman. I can tell you, a lot of this we're talking about, a lot of it just gets back to delayed gratification. So the guys I grew up with, they wouldn't leave the house unless you paid them. I mean, you needed to pay them. Now, $9 an hour, $12 an hour, but they needed to get paid. They wouldn't work 1 hour for free. For free. And the folks that I know that are successful were willing to delay their gratification. And here's the other thing that I don't think people talk about. When they do those little experiments to see if the kid's going to be successful or not, and they go, I'll give you 5 M&Ms right now, or I'll give you 10 M&Ms tomorrow if you wait. Well, of course, the successful kids wait for the 10 M&Ms. But the thing about business, and especially show business, is the deal is I'll give you 5 M&Ms today, or 10 M&Ms tomorrow, or possibly no M&Ms tomorrow. Because that's the thing. It's all blind. I mean, when I say delayed gratification, well, that suggests that you're getting 10 M&Ms tomorrow, and you could wrap your mind around that. You could talk people into that. Business, your business or show business or anything is like, come back tomorrow, give up the 5 today, come back tomorrow. You may owe me 5 M&Ms when you come back tomorrow. Right. You have to make that deal. You got to wrap your mind around that, and that's the tough part. If you told everybody, work for free for a year, and I'll give you $1 million at the end of the year, well, then everyone would do it. Not you, but everyone else.
But see, it's what you said earlier, which I think is a huge takeaway here. It's like no amount of M&Ms that you get today can change your life or improve your life. Like your buddy that wants the $12 an hour, it doesn't change your life, man. You're better off taking nothing. People will pay you more if it's free and give you a donation. Shoe shine. If you want to shine shoes, do it for free and leave it up to the customer to give you a tip.
Right.
I guarantee they'll tip you more than they'll pay for shoe shine.
Oh, we had a little bad connection there, but no, it's a very good point. If you say to somebody, shoe shine, $13, the person's going to go, $13, I could go up the street and do it for $9. If you go, I'll give you a hell of a shoe shine. When I'm done, if you think it's a hell of a shoe shine, then you just pay me what you think it's worth. You'll get $25.
Dude, that works for blowjobs too, by the way.
That's a good note to go out on, Grant. I will be watching the show, by the way. Undercover Billionaire Season 2 is going to premiere again.
You crying like a little bitch in the clip.
Wait, sorry. Say it again. Oh, man. Sorry, Grant. Our internet is breaking up as you're saying, crying like a little bitch. So,
it's your LA mayor.
LA mayor. Oh, Garcetti. Ugh. Ugh. God damn. I hate that little bitch. You're exactly right. Grant, our internet's getting choppy, so I'm going to bid you adieu, but I'll give you a plug. Thanks, man. Have you back soon. Thanks for hanging out. Again, Undercover Billionaire Season 2, January 6th, 8 p.m. on Discovery. All right. Last but not least, Simply Safe. Want to keep your home safe. And what about break-ins? What about fire? What about flood? What about medical emergencies? Simply Safe Home Security, award-winning, 24/7 protection. No long-term contracts, hidden fees, or installation costs. And you can get a free home security camera when you purchase its Simply Safe system. When you purchase a Simply Safe system, it's simplysafe.com/Adam. All right, Naples, Florida, coming up off the hook, January 16th, 17th. Come on out and do some stand-up. Ace Awards. The 2020 Ace Awards coming up tomorrow. My favorite show of the year. And Burbank Pickwick Bowl, the 23rd. Go to AdamCarolla.com for all the live show and events and where we're going to be. I am going to be traveling, and I am going to be doing live shows, so come check that out. And until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Grant Cardone and Gina Grad and Bald Brian saying mahalo.